Welcome to Fire Still Lit. I'm Miss Fireball, and this is Miss Fireball Speaks. Now, I'm not a smoker, never have been, but after decades in the workplace, I'm finally understanding why people disappear outside for 10 minutes, staring into the distance, questioning every decision they've made in life. You ever notice how smoke breaks have become the unofficial workplace therapy sessions? People go outside stressed and come back emotionally recalibrated. Meanwhile, us non smokers are still upstairs answering emails, dealing with the customers, putting out fires, and pretending that we're not mentally unraveling too. The one time in a prior job, I worked with this man named Chuck, and he was constantly leaving the office for a smoke break. So one day I decided I'm gonna count how many times Chuck goes outside for a smoke break. Now I wasn't trying to get him in trouble, not at all. I was just amazed how many times he gets up to go outside in an 8 hour work day to go smoke. So I decided to just I'm gonna keep a tally. Every time he went outside, I was gonna keep a tally. So I became the official scorekeeper. Me and my coworker were like, "Oh, there goes Chuck. Let me get my pen. Let me mark it down." Every time Chuck disappeared outside, I marked it down like a prisoner, counting down the days in jail. 4 lines down, then the diagonal line across the middle. And when I tell you Chuck was outside every chance he got, he was. In an 8 hour day, I counted 10 smoke breaks. 10. Now, to be fair, his job was stressful. Paperwork upon paperwork, spreadsheets upon spreadsheets, calculations, dealing with tenants, calling them. It's just constant 8 hour, just that loop over and over again. So, to be fair, I added a couple of more smoke breaks there. So I gave him one cigarette walking from the bus stop to work, and then I gave him one more cigarette walking to the bus afterward, which means, according to my math, Chuck was emotionally processing life through 12 cigarettes a day. And I'm not counting the ones when he was, at home. Who knows how many more he smoked then. And honestly, I stopped seeing Chuck smoke breaks as smoke breaks, just him smoking. I decided, you know what? It has to be stress management. That was how he was managing his stress at work. And seeing Chuck leave the office so many times throughout the day to go smoke reminded me of a story that I had read about years ago on the internet. It was about an employer and an employee claim or for unemployment insurance benefits. This man had got fired because his employer said that he kept leaving the office. He was taking too many smoke breaks. Basically, a Chuck 2.0. Can you imagine your employer firing you because they said you left the office too many times a day for a smoke break? Well, the employer tried to fight his unemployment claim, Chuck 2.0. Well, actually, this would be, yeah, Chuck 2.0. Sorry. So somehow, Chuck 2.0 won his appeal. He did. He started collecting the benefits, I guess, and then his employer stopped it with a protest. Chuck 2.0 said, "Oh, hell no. You keep paying me my money." So Chuck appealed it and he won. And you know why? On the basis of why he won his claim? Because Chuck 2.0 had medical documentation from his doctor stating that he needed to smoke during the workday to manage his stress and anxiety, which enabled him to perform his job duties. Wow. Can you believe that? Now, this is a true story. I read this many years ago. I remember reading this because I was at some crappy job where some employer, which you'll hear about one day, he fought my unemployment insurance claim and tried to block me from receiving benefits. So I was kind of like doing my own research to figure out how am I gonna, what how am I gonna fight my case? I need some ammunition. Well, long story short, guys, I did win, but one of these days you're gonna hear that story. Now, back to Chuck 2.0. So, like I said, when I read that story, I couldn't believe it. So I was like, wait a minute, like, since when do cigarettes become part of the workflow? And then present day, not too long ago, I had a coworker who used to secretly smoke a strawberry vape pen in the woman's bathroom. Yes, she would hide herself in a back stall and just smoke away during the workday. And you would come in and you would like get the hint of strawberry in the air. One time she walked past me when I was coming in the bathroom and I got the smell of strawberry off of her because one day in conversation, she had told me that, I smoke a vape pen. I need it throughout the day. And it's strawberry flavored because I was asking her, oh, how does a vape pen work? How does that work? Is that nicotine? So she was giving me a little education about vape pens. But then one day, Miss Strawberry Vape Pen, she never came back to work. And the strange part about it was all her stuff was still on her desk, at her desk, everything. She had a pair of shoes on the floor. She had her desk items. She had her personal things she brought from home. She had a charger. She like little decorations. Like she had a fan. She had like all her personal things, like even a small jacket hanging off the back of her chair. And I'm like, wow, what happened? Where did she go? And of course, jobs don't really tell you why people leave. You just know someone's gone from your department. So, basically now you got to pick up the slack and do their work. So day after day, I just kept looking at her desk like all her stuff is still here. And like, what happened? Is she okay? Did she get fired? Did she quit? Like, I've never seen anybody just all the things are still there and like no one came to claim it or clean it out. So one day I was just staring at her desk and I was being nosy, not maliciously nosy, not like that, more like office nosy. So I peeped in her desk because, I was looking for some colorful post-its. I really was. I was trying to see if she has any like, supplies there I could take. And I opened up her drawer and sitting right there in plain view, well, not plain view if I open a drawer, right? But I opened up her desk drawer and once I opened it, in that plain view in the drawer was a prescription bottle for anxiety medication. And suddenly, guys, a lot of things started clicking for me because I remember seeing her quietly take medication around the same time in the afternoon. And I was like, wow, she like literally in the middle of the workday has to pop anxiety medication. And the more and more I realize it, workplaces are full of people trying to emotionally hold themselves together in real time. Stress, bills, burnout, anxiety, health problems, family issues, and somehow everybody's still expected to answer emails professionally, right? Smile at the customers, attend meetings, and act like everything is perfectly fine. When we're all just stressed the hell out, wound up so tight that we need to have a smoke break or pop anxiety medication throughout the workday to get through the day. Now, if I'm being honest, and I'm always honest with you guys, I've had my own workplace coping methods too, my own rituals I do. See, when I was working, I was always snacking at my desk. Always. And every single morning, I would either make myself a big old cup of hot tea or I would stop somewhere to buy me a bottle of ginger ale. See, because in my mind, I had convinced myself this cup of hot tea is going to settle my nerves, right? Or this ginger ale is going to help me get through the day. And looking back now, I realized it really wasn't about the hot tea or the ginger ale. I was trying to emotionally prepare myself for whatever stress was waiting for me when I walked through those office doors. Now, think about it. Just think about it. People have a lot of versions of that. Me, it was a hot cup of tea or the ginger ale. For some people, it's smoking. Some people, they have to take their uh, anxiety medication. For some people, they have the coffee, the snacking, like I said, the vaping. They walk outside. They go into the bathroom for an extended break in the bathroom stall just to collect themselves. Or, they drinking energy drinks all day. Like these are the little rituals people create to mentally brace themselves for the workday or get through it. And honestly, that says a lot about our modern workplace culture right now in 2026 and hell, probably beyond. Because jobs are just giving us more and more work, giving us less in pay, and the demands and burnout is real. Now, for those of you who don't smoke, tell me, what's your unofficial escape hatch at work? You go hide in the staircase, you go to the parking lot, do you visit the vending machine, the bathroom? What's the one thing at work that you do to reset your sanity? And should us non smokers get the same number of breaks as smokers do? I'm curious about where everybody stands in this because the smokers seem to like, oh, everybody knows they're going to smoke break. They're taking a smoke break. Okay, what about the rest of us who don't smoke? Can we take a break outside? Does your job allow you to take breaks? Some people have that written in their employee handbook. They're allowed to take a 10-minute break, maybe twice a day. Do you take advantage of that? Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. This was the Smokers Edition. I should say this was the Smokers Commentary, the non-Smokers Edition. Now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and remember, I'm Ms. Fireball. This has been an edition of Miss Fireball Speaks. Now, go out there. Don't forget to put out your ashes so you don't start a fire. See you next time.